The map is going to be Daybreak. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the deciding map. And it's, well, really, it's anyone's to play for. Spawning in the bottom left-hand position. Completely and utterly aggressive in his PvP play all day. And it's earned him a spot in the round of 16. Can it also, in turn, earn him a spot in the round of 8? Representing Western Wolves, we have Daisy. And his opponent, spawning in the top right position as the green Protoss player, hailing from South Africa, sponsored by Cooler Master Storm. What will he be able to do on this deciding map? Can he pull through as the fan favorite into the round of 8? It is Pandatank.
Oh man, this game. I'm so excited for this. I don't really quite have words for it. You know, they've made it so far into the bracket, and this is that part where, you know, you're fighting on top of a metal beam going over a pit of lava, and neither of these guys.
That's pretty difficult, man.
Up. It is. I mean, you think about stressful situations. Fighting over a pit of lava normally is a bit bad, but you're on a thin metal beam. Like, all it's gonna take is one nudge, and sometimes that's what PvP really feels like.
And metal conducts heat really well, man. So that thin metal beam's going to get pretty hot even if you don't fall in. That's pretty tough.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely hard to keep your footing. But I gotta say, it's all going to come down to which one of these guys can withstand the heat the most. And we do have Pandatank doing that gas first. He goes for the gas, but he only goes for the one gas. And this has just kind of been something stylistically he's been doing a little bit in these PvPs. Daisy is going to open up with that double gas once again. On Daybreak, not the best blink map, but I still feel like Daisy prefers this gateway play way too much.
Yeah, well, it's a tricky thing to sort of adjust your mentality to something else mid-tournament, if you see what I mean here. Because Daisy's gateway pressure, it's actually been going so well for him, like, through the entirety of this tournament today, that it would feel really strange if you were Daisy and you just started to mix things up right now, if you see what I mean. So I can't foresee him going for anything else this early on. If he does, it feels like it's a bit off the cuff, and that maybe, just maybe, it wouldn't be quite as crisp as his normal gateway timing. So I'm still expecting more of the same from Daisy here.
Yeah, you make a very great point, though. I mean, what he's playing is slightly predictable, but sometimes you just got to stick to your guns. I feel that the gateway play, while it has paid off pretty well for him, though, Pandatank seems to be the player that's adjusted the best to it with his building game number 2. We haven't seen him throw any kind of tech building yet. He's going for
that's
the
not a gateway, man.
Oh, Daisy, you sneaky little... You sneaky monkey, you going for this Stargate play. I really like this, especially with the Sentry. Be able to keep any aggressive units from Pandatank out. And now Pandatank is the one that's going to be going for the gateway aggression, chrono boosting out that double stalker follow-up, and getting that mothership core. So this is going to be very interesting. This is going to be pretty intense.
Wow, so I did say I would be surprised if Daisy didn't go for more of the same, and I'm about to eat my words here as Daisy looking like he's going to go for something out of White Raw's playbook. The Stargate is about to complete now. The Sentry will be in position at the top of the ramp to try and deny any early game aggression. He's actually pooling up a decent amount of energy on these Sentries, so he might even have 4 force fields available by the time this attack hits, but Pandatank is already moving out across the map. Third gateway in production, chrono boosting that warp gate research. Forward pylon in place around the third base location of Daisy, with more coming up as well. And I think Daisy's going to find out very quickly that he will be defending very hard in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. The Sentries don't do terribly much DPS to those mothership cores, and the first Phoenix is going to get over there to scalp, but it's not at home to defend, and he's going to move in time warps on the Sentries. That mothership core, ooh, this is so tricky. He's going to lose the Zealot, possibly this probe as well.
Use the force field.
Man, He barely does get that off in time. Now, he does have one more force field remaining. This Mothership Core wants to chase that sentry away, though, and if he can get inside of this base, that sentry needs to get back towards the ramp. If those Stalkers get in...
Oh, that was too much of a circuitous route! And, okay, the sentry does get a third force field up, but 3 Stalkers are now inside the main base, and I think this could be catastrophic here. He's actually bringing the Phoenixes back from Pandatank's base, but will the damage ultimately get done? Only 2 Stalkers left, but the rest of the army is now coming up into the main, and Daisy is looking in a world of hurt right now. Still only the 2 gateways, but we're pulling the probes, and there's a Void Ray with this composition. Well, is it going to be enough? Phoenixes lifting Stalkers, the Void Ray doing an incredible amount of damage, probes being pulled, number of workers currently 22 to 26 in favor of Daisy. He needs to hang on for dear life here.
Yeah, and he got another sentry out. He does have that Void Ray, and you know, this just harkens back to the match between, I believe it was Daisy and White Raw and Belshir, where that just having that fast Void Ray out to deal with the Stalker aggression is so important, and that has made the difference for Daisy. He's already got 3 kills so far, no more force fields, but walking up into this ramp is almost a death wish for Pandatank if he can't get out some more units that are going to work better versus this setup. He doesn't have anything to tank but those Stalkers, and oh, this is just such a tight choke, especially with the new force field being available.
Yeah, we need to take stock of where the game is at the moment, guys. Daisy is currently on 50 supply to Pandatank's 41. He's also ahead in the worker count, but only just 27 to 25. And now he's going to be sending his 2 Phoenixes. Don't forget, he didn't get the 3rd one because he had to cram out that Void Ray so quickly. He's just going to be scouting once again, spots the 2 Stalkers in the mirror line and thinking, you know what, that's not going to work very well indeed. He'll meet up with the 3rd Phoenix and maybe get a bit more damage later. This is just such a tense situation. I feel like Daisy's held that off quite well, but he needs to get maybe a second Void Ray and a couple more Stalkers out to be completely sure, because I think Pandatank is going to have Blink done with his next push, and he's really going to want to try and make a big point here.
Yeah, and that second Void Ray is coming up, as you said. We do have a 4th gateway being added on for Pandatank. He's getting Blink, but you know what? Those Phoenix actually saw that that Twilight Council, so he knows he's going to be going for either Blink or DTs, and, well, once he swoops in here, it's going to be way too clear. And I think the Stalker count kind of told the story as well. So now adding on a Robo is Daisy, and he's looking really well set up versus this, and yeah, he can affirm that there is a 4th gateway going down as well.
All right, so he's really looking to pile on the hurt there. The robotic facility for Daisy just over halfway done. 2 Voiders with a 3rd one on the way for our Red Protoss player. Pandatank continuing to warp in more and more Stalkers. The Phoenixes from Daisy really haven't been able to get the damage done that they want to, and the Mothership Core from Pandatank is sitting pretty on just under 100 energy, so he will be able to use a Photon Overcharge if anything untoward happens a bit later in the game.
Yeah. Definitely. Kind of interesting that we don't actually have a Mothership Core out for Daisy. He's spending his gas very, very carefully. I feel like this is just a sign that instead of banking up energy on a Mothership Core for an expansion, with this first Immortal, he may try to push out or just expect Pandatank to come in and try to push through the rest of him. But blinking back, he hasn't lost any Stalkers yet, but hasn't really done too much damage to Daisy. And I don't know, this is just such an awkward spot. The army compositions are such that if Pandatank can catch Daisy out in the open, he might be able to pick off a lot of his units based on how many Stalkers he has. But if Pandatank goes up that ramp, he's pretty much dead. So it's just a little bit of we got like a Mexican standoff here, and I feel like they've crossed their lightsabers on this metal pole over the lava, and it's gonna take one slip up. One slip up is going to cost this game, and it's not going to take much to knock either of these guys over the edge.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, I mean, this metal pole over the lava, one of these guys is a much bigger lightsaber than the other at the moment, and I think 3 Void Rays and 2 Immortals is saying to Pandatank, hey mate, you want to go Stalkers? I am totally ready for this. And now that Pandatank is actually getting his natural expansion down as well, and Daisy sees this with his Phoenixes, I wonder if that's going to prompt Daisy to try and break out and see if he can't win the game on the army he currently has.
Yeah, it does make quite a bit of sense. The biggest issue he needs to just be careful of is the sentry baiting out. Maybe he can get those force fields, because if he walks the Immortals down or he brings the Void Rays out without either... If he can basically partition the army in half, he can do a lot. But I love this warping. He's putting this Warp Prism loaded with a couple of these units. He is going to attempt to move out, and we actually have Pandatank throwing on a preemptive force field here. This is where things are getting dicey. He's just going to lower his whole army onto the low ground.
Oh, and does Pandatank see this happening? He doesn't. This is, he's going to try and just keep the economic edge. and pull out as many probes as he possibly can. He's actually at 31 to 27 right now, but he's moving forward is Daisy, and Pandatank does have to get the heck out of dodge. That is a mighty scary army to face if your army is exclusively Stalkers. A lot of Void Rays and Immortals as well. The Warp Prism going to be going forward with Daisy. He's going to try and stop this natural expansion, but the Stalkers... Oh, Pandatank needs every unit right now.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where sometimes players will try to force base trades just because he cannot stand up to this force. There's too many Immortals, too many Void Rays, and he's got a lot more Stalkers back at home. He is pretty much just hoping to just overwhelm him with sheer number of units. The Mothership Core does have double Photon Overcharge available. He can also Time Warp if Daisy tries to go up this ramp, but this is going to be pretty rough, especially once he breaks down these rocks and he has a lot larger of a space to be able to move through.
Yeah, there are 3 sentries now, though, with this army, so Pandatank is going to have at least one shot at trying to force field this army into manageable chunks, but the Phoenixes and a couple of Zealots now going to be wreaking havoc inside the main base. The Photon Overcharge already used on that Nexus to try and deal with this while the army is defending at the natural, and here we go, Daisy going up the ramp now. Void Ray, good blink micro there from Pandatank, saving that initial Stalker. Is it going to be enough, though? The Phoenix is threatening to come back in. No Photon Overcharge will be available at the natural expansion after the current one expires. That's really important to note here.
Yeah, I mean, one other thing I do want to make sure to mention is that there are now a pretty solid number of Zealots on the field for Pandatank. Looking at overall numbers, it's 14 for Daisy, 10 for Pandatank. But that means he's not going to have to really worry about the buffer zone when it comes to getting those Stalkers on top of those Void Rays. It's going to basically be the Stalkers fighting against the Immortals and Void Rays while the Zealots kind of go at each other. The
more Zealots to make base as well.
Yeah, that Warp Prism has just been so annoying this whole time, continuing to chop those probes up. And now he's going to move in towards the natural. Photon Overcharge is gone. The force moves do go down. Those Zealots not in the optimal position, but the Void Rays using that range, he's going to immediately Graviton lift the Stalkers that come up and try to snipe them. And with the Immortal support, is going to blast through this. But Pandatank maintaining some semblance of a similar supply for now, hanging in there as much as possible. But I feel like with these 3 Void Rays, there's not enough Stalkers to break through the rest of this.
That's right, the Stalkers managing just about to pick apart the Immortals. Only a last one left alive here, but they didn't deal with the Void Rays. There just wasn't enough firepower to deal with both of these. And Pandatank at the moment is not sitting pretty. He is currently at 40 supply burst with 59 of Daisy, and the air superiority here is going to go unanswered. And it looks like Daisy actually going to be finishing this game off with a Dark Shrine as well. So a couple of DTs to back this up. Pandatank, unfortunately, has gone, and Daisy is going to be winning this incredibly entertaining, superbly tense best of 3 here at the WCS Europe Qualifier. Very close.
Yeah, it was a good effort. Pandatank's just kind of digesting this right now. He got so far again in this qualifier. But there's the G, and Daisy displaying once again why he is still in this qualifier and why many have fallen before his blade.